Chapter 1, The Hook, midnight to 0:45, he walked into a police station and reported his wife missing. He said she had been gone for years. He wasn't sure exactly how long. He'd lost track. Police started their investigation. What they found had nothing to do with a missing woman. Because she wasn't missing. She had been dead for 11 years. And the man who reported her missing was the same man who killed her. But to understand how this happened, how a woman could vanish from the world for over a decade with no one asking questions, you need to know what came first. In this video, we are going to look at what happened in the years before police ever got involved. Then we'll look at what the investigation revealed, and at the end, I'll show you the detail from this case that investigators say they still can't fully explain. Stay with me. Chapter 2, The Woman Who Disappeared, 0:45 to 2:30. The woman at the center of this case was an ordinary person living an ordinary life in a residential area of Japan. We'll call her Keiko, that is not her real name. Out of respect for her identity and privacy, and to comply with Japanese media conventions around victims, we are not using the name that appears in public records. Keiko was in her 40s when she died. She and her husband had been together for years, married, living in a modest home, no children. Neighbors, when later interviewed by police, described her as quiet. Private. Not someone they saw regularly. This detail matters more than it sounds, because the fact that she was private, that people didn't track her comings and goings, is exactly what made what happened next possible. At some point, and investigators were never able to pinpoint the exact date, Keiko died inside the family home. The cause of death, based on what was later found, pointed to homicide. But the body was not discovered by neighbors, by family, or by authorities. It was concealed. For 11 years. Now here's where it gets stranger, and I'll come back to this near the end of the video, because the question of how a body can go undiscovered for over a decade inside a residential building is more complicated than it seems. Chapter 3, The Missing Years, 2:30 to 4:15. While the body remained concealed, the husband continued with his life. He went to work. He interacted with people. He functioned, as far as anyone could tell, as a person living a normal life. This is the part of the case that investigators and psychologists find most disturbing. Not the act itself, though that is disturbing, but the sustained performance of normalcy that followed. For years, if anyone asked about his wife, he gave answers. She was away. She was unwell. She had moved. Those who knew them only casually, which, given how private Keiko was, included most people in their social orbit, had no particular reason to doubt him. This is also not unique to this case. Researchers who study prolonged concealment cases note that the social invisibility of some victims, particularly women who have withdrawn from public life, creates a kind of accidental cover. No one notices they're gone because no one was tracking their presence. It's a painful dimension of these cases. And what they found when they finally opened that door is even stranger than the concealment itself. We'll get there. Chapter 4, The Report, 4:15 to 5:45. 11 years after Keiko died, her husband walked into a police station. He reported her missing. This is the moment that investigators have spent significant time trying to understand. Why now? Why report her at all? One theory is practical: financial records, pension payments, government correspondence that required her signature or her confirmed existence. Another theory is psychological, that after more than a decade, the weight of the concealment had become unsustainable. But whatever the reason, reporting her missing was the worst possible decision he could have made. Because as soon as police began investigating a missing persons report, they started asking the questions no one had asked in 11 years. When was she last seen? Who were her contacts? Where was she on specific dates? If this is the kind of story you want to follow more, unsolved Japanese cases, cold cases, the kind of truth that takes a decade or more to emerge, I'd genuinely be glad if you stuck around this channel. There's a lot more where this came from. But right now, back to the investigation. Chapter 5, What they found, 5:45 to 8 o'clock. When investigators searched the home, they found evidence that could not be explained by any version of "she moved away." Personal belongings. Documents. Items that a person leaving a life behind would take with them, and didn't. And then the physical evidence the forensic team would later analyze in detail. The case was reclassified almost immediately. This was no longer a missing persons inquiry. The husband was taken in for questioning. Initially, he maintained a version of events. She had been there. She had been unwell. He had not noticed exactly when she stopped being present. Investigators noted, according to accounts that emerged from the proceedings, that his version of events shifted repeatedly. Not in major ways, but in the small, verifiable details that investigators used to identify inconsistency. The forensic timeline, established through later analysis, contradicted nearly everything he said. Here is the detail that I told you I'd return to, the one that investigators say still carries questions. For 11 years, the remains were inside a locked section of the home. The neighbors' homes are visible from the front. People walked past every single day. Garbage was put out. Mail was collected. The exterior was maintained. The performance of the ordinary continued for over a decade, not in some remote rural location, but in a residential area of one of the most densely populated countries in the world. And no one knew. This is the part of the case that lingers. Not just what was done, but how long ordinary life continued around it, completely undisturbed. Chapter 6, The Investigation and Aftermath, 8 to 10 o'clock. The investigation that followed was not a fast one. Forensic evidence from a case this old presents significant challenges. Establishing a precise timeline of events, cause of death, sequence of actions, the exact nature of what happened, requires piecing together fragments that time has degraded. Investigators used records, financial records, utility records, correspondence, to reconstruct the 11-year gap. What emerged was a picture of sustained, deliberate concealment. Not a panicked cover-up that fell apart quickly, but one that was maintained, managed, sustained over years. The husband was eventually charged. I want to be precise about what I can and can't say about the outcome. Some details of Japanese criminal proceedings from cases of this era are not fully available in English language sources, and we will not speculate beyond what the evidence supports. What is documented is the charge, the investigation, and the circumstances of discovery. What is not fully documented, and what continues to make this case discussed in the context of how authorities and communities handle disappearances, is the question of accountability in the gap. 11 years. Neighbors who may have noticed small things but said nothing. Systems that didn't flag an absence. A woman whose privacy, which was her right, also meant that no one came looking. This is the haunting dimension of this case, and others like it. The systems that are supposed to catch these things, welfare checks, pension administration, community networks, all moved around this case without touching it. Chapter 7, Conclusion and Close, 10 to 11:30. This case isn't famous in the way that some unsolved mysteries become famous. There's no dramatic twist ending, no last-minute evidence, no surprise survivor. What it is a quiet kind of horror. A woman who lived quietly, died hidden, and was not found. Was not even reported missing, until the man who concealed her decided he needed her name on a form. That is the truth at the center of this case. And it raises questions not just about this man, or this crime, but about how we account for people who exist at the margins of visibility. People who are private. People who don't have family checking in regularly. People whose absence looks, from the outside, like a choice. In Japan, as in most countries, there are ongoing discussions about how to identify vulnerable isolated individuals, and whether the systems designed to do this are functioning. This case is sometimes cited in those discussions. It is cited not as an exception, but as an example of how a very ordinary kind of invisibility can persist for a very long time. For Keiko, and for cases like hers, names that are kept from public records, faces that don't appear in documentary footage, all we can do is understand what happened clearly, and ask whether we are paying enough attention to those around us whose absence we might not otherwise notice. If you've been watching this channel for a while, you know we try to handle these cases with that kind of care. If you're new here and this is the kind of investigation you want to keep following, we cover Japanese cold cases, unexplained events, and the cases that don't get international coverage but deserve to be understood. Subscribe if you want more. No pressure, just come back if this resonated. And next, we're looking at a case from northern Japan where a family reported something strange in their home for 3 years before anyone found what was causing it. What was living there will stay with you. That video is coming. I'll see you there.